Connecting to cloud server. Good. All right. So website design principles. So like last time we kind of talked a little bit about just general kind of really high level concepts of web page design, but now let's look at like how a site works as a cohesive whole. So we will briefly again come back to target audiences, but with more explicit examples. Common ways that websites are organized, and the advantages and disadvantages. Look at some aspects of visual design, like color palettes and things like that. It's kind of fun. It's actually a pretty fun thing to look at. Graphics and how to use them appropriately and to maintain like ADA compliance. And then there's a list of best practices on the actual text page that are kind of interesting. And we'll also look at some of the ways in which Google Sites does a lot of this stuff for you, which is pretty cool. But first, oh yeah. So that's what I was getting to. Google Sites automates a lot of best practices, but we'll look at them a little bit critically so that we can see kind of like what is Google Sites exactly doing for me, you know, because they are doing a lot for us, and it's not a bad idea to kind of figure out why some of those decisions were made for us and how they help us. So there's this concept called a call to action, a CTA, which is like a big button that tries to get you to do something on a website. So
like
when you're looking,
LLTCs, like apply now.
yes, that's the CTA right there, the apply now, which is on every single page. So who's going to use it? So when you're trying to think about your target audience, who's going to be using your website? So if it's LLTC.edu, there's basically two kinds of people that are going to use that website. One are students, and the other type is people who aren't students yet. And so you want them to both be able to find the things that they need relatively quickly. And the ones we really want are the ones that don't have their foot in the door yet, those not students yet group. We want them to push that button that says apply now. It seems a little bit manipulative, but I mean, we want people to apply. We want people to go to college. So we want to make that easy to do. So we want, what do we want them to accomplish?
We want to be manipulative.
Well, and yeah, I mean, when what we want them to do and what they want to do are the same thing, when those two things align, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, they're on that website for a reason.
It's like, I don't want it to be hard to apply, and they don't want it to be hard to apply. So it's not completely manipulative. It's just a little manipulative. So here's one I found. This is actually a company based out of Tower, Minnesota, on Lake Vermilion. Tower? Yeah, Tower. And they rent houseboats. We actually did this summer. It was really fun. Where's the CTA here, and what does it do? Can anybody have any idea of what's going on this website? Like, where's the call to action? Just take a look at this.
Book a reservation?
Yep, right here. This is it, right? It's slightly like this is in the darker, bolder color. The view availability calendar is kind of in a less bold color, but it's also kind of a call to action button. And then up on top, like for everybody that wants to do a little bit more research, they have other stuff going on. So we have a top nav bar on the top. But what actually dominates this page, which is kind of interesting, is this big, well, I did that wrong. This big picture here. And actually, if you go to the website, it's an animated picture where you see this boat kind of like going by, and it looks all peaceful and stuff. It's like, oh, your perfect camping trip. And it is. It's really cool. You like have a cabin that floats on the water and goes with you. And then you have to park at like various campsites, and it was pretty fun. So this whole area right here is called it's kind of, they take it from newspaper rhetoric. They call it above the fold, which is basically everything that renders before you have to scroll. So we have our navigation, our call to action buttons, and then just some graphics that give you like this sales pitch, like, oh, look at these people having a great time, look how peaceful it is, this is Lake Vermilion, Minnesota, blah blah blah, we're trying to sell this vacation. Everything below the fold is like other information. Like if I remember correctly on the website, it's like meet the owners of the company because it's a family-owned business, and meet the, all the blah 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 blah. It's the rest of it's just because nobody scrolls down. You want the most important. This is actually a pretty stinking well-designed website because everything that you need is really here.
I do like the phone number up on top.
Yeah, again, that's not a bad idea. This is actually a really solid idea to have your phone number there so people can contact you without like messing around. And I think on most cell phones, you can even tap a phone number and it'll just call that phone number. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. I guess I don't know for a fact, but maybe you have to like highlight it and then it detects it as a phone number and it'll dial it. So here's another website that might look familiar. So let's look at this critically. When someone comes here, what do they see? I mean, like, what are you trying to accomplish?
Get to the classroom.
Yeah, well, let's say this is the classroom. Well, yeah, that actually, yeah, you're just this big blue link here. I try to make it like, maybe I could even make it a bigger button, I suppose. This is just the one that's pre-programmed into Canvas's style sheet. Is this these colored buttons? I can make them like red and stuff. Maybe I should make it red. What about graphics? Do I have any graphics on here? Man, there's no pictures. Yeah, every now and again I'll post a picture because it's funny, but usually I don't have any pictures here. I just want the tools that you need to get working. That's all. And there's like the to-do list over here on the side. There's a couple of little things here. My course calendar isn't completely full because I'm really only I've really only been able to plan like a week ahead. Oh, chat window. G2G. We'll see you later, Dan. I should keep the chat window open. There. That's a good spot for it. Right in my line of sight. Zoom changed it so that there's actually like a flashing thing now when somebody posts in the chat window. So it actually like grabs my attention, which is kind of nice. Yeah, so I don't know. If anybody has any critiques about the way this is laid out, I'd be really interested here because I have a lot of control over how this stuff is laid out. I mean, this bar is always going to be here, and the middle part is always going to be content, and then this stuff is always going to be here. I can't like change this stuff, but I can change this and how this is ordered. So I actually have a fair bit of control over how this is. So if anybody has any like criticism, yes.
I guess I don't know, like if you would this, but your phone number.
Oh, on the front page? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good idea. I have it on the syllabus. Classroom. It's on the syllabus, but that's right. That's at least 2 clicks away. Yeah, good call. Yeah.
Can you put the Zoom code on there also? Because I always have to like log in and then go to the classroom button instead of like dialing it.
I guess you get, because I'm starting to, like, it's weird, like, I'm starting to remember my Zoom codes, like old phone numbers before cell phone.
You should be able to just click this blue link right here.
Yeah, I was going to say that when I click it, it just takes me right to the Zoom meeting.
That's what happens for me, too, but I'm just saying, like, I'd rather just, because I use my phone, I'd rather just dial in the number.
Okay.
And I can't, like, find the number right, on your page.
Oh, yeah, because if you're using the Canvas app on your phone, that app is garbage.
Yeah, it is.
That app is hot garbage. This is in the recording, by the way.
Yeah, I like yours. Because I hate looking up the number and then dialing in the number.
Okay, so yeah, if you're using your phone, finding that link is actually a big pain in the butt. Okay, good call.
Like I use a laptop.
Yeah, I mean, if you're using a laptop, you can just click the link. Or if you're using a Chromebook or something, I think you can just click the link. But yeah, that's a good call about the.
Eric, I think like some of my classes, like chemistry, like I have to go in and get the code every single time. Like I finally wrote it down and posted it, but like I don't know, do you have the same problem, William? Like where there's like nothing to click, like Steve has nothing to click. Like, I don't know if he knows how to do that, but maybe you could show him.
You know what I bet
Eric,
Steve did?
Yeah, if you can like email like Steve Smith about how to put a link for the classroom like that.
Hang on, I think I bet I know what Steve did.
He just posted a number in one email.
Like you can do this. So this is the like the meeting invitation, and I think what happens is people copy and paste this, and then paste it somewhere. But if you just paste it like that, this right here, which is the link that you want, doesn't convert to a link. Like if I copied and pasted this into like a Word document, let's see here. It won't automatically convert it to a link. See? You actually have to go back up here and hit spacebar before it'll turn into a link. The same will work in the web editor. It's not a link until you go back to it and hit spacebar. So people are just pasting that in thinking they're done and not realizing that it's not going to detect it as a link since you just pasted this bunch of text.
Right.
So otherwise, yeah, I can't click on this. This doesn't do anything. So
right.
I bet that's what the vast majority of people are doing.
But he has it in an announcement. Like it's just one. It's like the first week announcement, and
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's just sent one email. It's like, "Welcome to Chem. This is your number," and we have to go in that email every time to get that number. So we have to search an old email through our inbox to get that number.
Okay. Well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to keep a home page on here, because I think some people would put like their modules as their home page, because I can choose my home page as the course modules. I could have it as the syllabus. I can have it as a specific page. So I just create a home page, and
right.
then
He needs a link. He needs a link like that Blue Classroom link.
Yeah, this is how I chose to do it.
Yeah, that's what he needs.
But if you want to use your phone, Josephine, you were the one that wanted the course code posted somewhere. Should I just post it like here somewhere, or like here, just the number? Is that what you want?
I said that, yeah.
Oh,
I don't need
Jade.
the number. I use the classroom link.
Okay. Jade, do you want should I just put the number here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I don't put passwords on them because I assume you guys aren't gonna share the link on Facebook or anything. But yeah. All right. I can do that. I can literally do that right now. Copy. Oh, that's the wrong class. ITECH 150. This is what I want. So I can put it. I did something weird when I did this. So where is? There we go. I'm editing some HTML, guys. 999-2881-2741.
Hey, there you go.
I can even make it bold. I think it should be bold. Bold.
Hey.
Awesome. I wasn't actually expecting this to bear fruit, but this is great. Asking for critiques. Because usability, I don't know. I don't use the website as much as you guys do. I try to think of it from your guys' perspective, but where's your pointer? Okay, let's talk about site organization. So when you navigate a website, you don't really know necessarily where everything is going to be. So you have to have, or your users don't know where everything's going to be. So you want to have some way for them to get around. And there's a couple of different ways people do that. Having a nav bar, having a sitemap, and a sitemap isn't necessarily for your users, but it can be. And usually the sitemap is posted at the bottom. Usually it's for web crawlers to be able to navigate your whole website. You use a sitemap, and then they'll parse this sitemap document that tells them where everything is, and then they can log it on Google, which is what you want. You want people to be able to find your website. And generally, websites fit into three kind of broad categories. You have a hierarchical organization, a linear organization, or a random organization, or some combination of those. hierarchical organization looks kind of like this. You've got a home page, and then everything is linked from the home page or from each other. You know, so like these are like lower on the hierarchy. This is definitely the highest on the hierarchy, and they're like a branching tree that kind of branches out from a home page. That is what most websites do. They have something like this. There are a couple of different ways you could structure it. You can either have a really shallow hierarchy where just basically everything's linked back to the home page, and I think this is maybe the most common way to do it for most websites. Or you can have ones with a little deeper hierarchies. I can't, honestly, I tried to find an example of this, but I couldn't really find a really good example. I think the LLTC website has some parts of the website that are deep hierarchies, but it's not strictly a deep. Most of the stuff is that you really want is linked just to the homepage or from the homepage. Boom. A linear organization is a little different. You all the pages kind of follow a linear progression. This is like a traditional book, you know, where every page follows the page before it. A good example of a linear hierarchy would be like a class that, or a website that's a class. So like I start at lesson 1, and then I go here, and then I go here, and then I go here, and I go here. Whoops, really? That button goes back? Stop it. Next. And then I end up on the last page, and then congratulations, you're done. So like a how-to website or a class with lessons. There are some websites that are like games where you go through like a series of challenges, and each challenge brings you to the next website. So that's kind of like a linear organization. Kind of rare that you don't see them a lot. But they're not completely unheard of. And some websites will use a combination of these. Like we actually have some parts of our website that are linear in the way they're organized, like the application process. That's like a series of pages in a row that would be like a linear organization. And then you have some that are kind of like the random, just like something that doesn't fit in either linear or hierarchical. Kind of rare in the wild. Art sites, experimental sites, everything's just kind of linked around and doesn't really seem to have any sort of like core organization. Some people call it a web organization. Wikis kind of fit in this realm, except that they always do have a homepage. So a wiki might have a homepage and then link into like this web of interlinked pages that have no particular way of organizing themselves. It's like Wikipedia has a homepage, but then once you start clicking around on links in various articles on Wikipedia, they're all linked back to each other in this chaotic kind of web because, you know, life is messy and Wikipedia is an encyclopedia about life. Or at least the human experience of it. Yeah, so a lot of websites are going to embody some of these or all of these organizational styles in some way. The LLTC website, I think, has some hierarchical qualities and some linear qualities. LLTC.edu. So we have our main links up here. What's up, Billy?
I like those web pages that like have like basically like a bunch of information like right away, like right in the beginning, and then like there's a little arrow that like swipes the whole thing.
Oh yeah, it's actually a pretty cool thing to program. The little
would that be like considered linear? Like,
yep.
It's kind of just like bam, swipes the whole thing left and right, kind of.
Sort
of
of
like those pictures.
Yeah, like the slideshow things.
Yeah.
Where you look at the first picture. So see what these celebrities are doing now. You know those ones.
I feel like that's like considered linear.
Let me get my pen here. So yeah, that's definitely linear. And then yeah, applying for classes here is linear. So this is hierarchical because we have this. We have the home page, and then everything is linked from it. And these are kind of like these have little drop-down menus that lead to other pages. But again, these are all directly linked from the home page. These little menus here. My annotations are just following me. Get out of here. I have to keep turning it on and off. I wish there was a hotkey to do that. Yeah, click here to apply now. So this part of it is linear because there's actually a series of pages you have to click through to do it. You have to do this. You have to go to the application for admission. You have to start filling out an application. You have to follow the instructions. Next page. So next page. Anything time you have to pick next page to do something. Yeah, that's definitely linear. Fill out the application and then next page. So it's weird that they have like Genzabar in iframe here. This is kind of weird because this is Genzabar right here. I didn't know they could do that. It's kind of cool, I guess, in its way. Yeah, no. Well, this is kind of what I was thinking of for this one is Wikipedia is kind of randomly organized because everything links to everything else. In fact, Wikipedia is a really great embodiment of the idea of hypertext, where the text isn't like a book where you just read from it from page 1 to page whatever. You jump back and forth to every article that's related to that article, and you can find yourself. That is not okay. So I actually have a couple of examples here. Let's turn off this pen. Target audiences and color schemes and things like that. These are kind of fun. Are these going to come up? So here's Nickelodeon, PBS Kids.
Dude, Slime Time Live used to be like so amazing. Or
Double Dare.
Dude.
So let's look at this. We've got Nickelodeon. We've got bright colors. We've got lots of graphics. We've got few links. I mean, I guess here you've got a little drop down, but a link to games, a link to apps, TV schedule, privacy policy, because kids care about that. Over here, you've got the hamburger, which opens up a little side menu. Oh, which gives you basically the same menu, it looks like. This is the same menu as the top navigation. PBS Kids is the same. Look at this. This is just bright colors, pretty graphics, a little game right here, kind of, or at least it looks like a wheel that shows you. Oh yeah, you mouse over that and then it spins the wheel.
Can you watch those?
Curious George?
Dude, please play it. Oh my god, that's awesome.
Looks like it tells little stories and stuff. Yeah, I might actually have to bring my daughter here and see what she thinks.
Right, that's awesome.
And it looks like you know what this really looks like is it looks like it's optimized for touchscreens.
Mm-hmm.
Because these are like things that you push with your butt. I'm just mousing over these to make this thing go. There's Daniel Tiger. It's based on Mr. Rogers. My daughter loves Mr. Rogers. Okay, here's Teen Vogue, which I have to say, Teen Vogue made, for being whatever, kind of like a teen fashion magazine, they're actually pretty good when it comes to journalism. They get things right when NBC and CBS and CNN and Fox get it all wrong. Some pretty hard-hitting stuff too, like heavily critical of government and things like that. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, look at an article about the coronavirus cases. But let's look at the color. We've got a white background. We've got a few pictures, and most of the text is devoted to what?
Activism.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, what are these? What is this? What is that? What is that? What is that? What is that?
Oh, just like Vogue.
Yeah, they're just the headlines and bylines. And I guess we've got a slight, like a small little navigation thing up here. But for the most part, we're talking, I guess these are animated, we got a couple of pictures that cycle, but
it feels like there's a lot of like politics. Like they feel like teens are going there and they want to get them into politics. Yeah.
The future of the Democratic Party, according to Stacey Abrams. Stacey Abrams is actually pretty cool.
Right, like there.
I mean, this is for teen. This is ostensibly targeted at teenagers, and yet,
right.
You know, they're not treating them like kids, which I think is key.
But then
from
there's
a visual,
identity too, like finding out who they are, kind of.
yeah.
See identity and culture up there.
From a visual design perspective, it's kind of like a grid. You know, you've got these two columns over here, and then you've got one big front and center thing here, and then I don't know. I didn't actually look too much into these. There's a whole link for politics.
Yeah, culture, identity,
culture.
Like, I feel like teens are lost a lot. I don't know. Like,
could be, yeah. So there's a rhetorical approach to doing it, stuff like this too. But let's look at AARP. What do you guys think of this?
holy. Man.
Well, what's AARP? Who is it targeted at?
Elders.
Yeah, it's for older folk, elders, and then light on text. The graphics don't move a lot. Notice
like
how
it's like saying
of,
like
man, this is all animated. This has got flashy pictures. This is still images.
Like is extended isolation killing older adults? Like, we don't want to die. Like,
well, I mean, that's just like news that's targeted at a specific demographic. But look at how all the pictures are. Everything's very static. Light background, dark text, static images, headlines. There's more headlines than on Teen Vogue.
Mm-hmm.
There's more of it on the homepage anyway.
Less about style.
A little bit of an advertisement for getting an AARP membership. And then down here is like their sitemap kind of thing. But yeah, like really just not a lot of like flashy stuff, not a lot of it's very calm. Reads like kind of like a newspaper almost, if you look at kind of like the links are easy to click, you know.
Yeah, it's organized.
7 gadgets to help you during the pandemic. And I think old people are particularly concerned about the pandemic.
Yeah, man. Like, can you imagine? Like, God, I remember when we all found out, it was like, whoa, like, are we gonna die? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, and the answer is probably not. But when
I know.
Old
But
people,
in the beginning,
that's
like
not.
in
It's
March,
not nearly so simple, because old people have a much higher mortality rate.
Right? Can you imagine being old like that and just, man, it'd be so scary.
So it's something to keep in mind when you're browsing the web. Is just like look at a website and say, why did they decide to do something the way they did? Because you're allowed to do that. You know, they don't get to dictate how you think about things. I'm gonna kind of breeze through these because I think this is actually a fun thing to talk about, but it's also you know, it doesn't. You don't need it. We can't really talk about it at length because this isn't a design class, but it's fun anyway. So the color wheel. A lot of aspects of web design are the design part, and I didn't go to school for design, so I don't actually know a whole lot about it. So I use a lot of cheat tools, and I'll show you some cheat tools at the end here of this. So color palettes are chosen from there's a bunch of different kinds of color palettes. So monochromatic color palette, we use the same hue, but we add a little black or a little bit of white to create like darker and lighter versions of a color. So if this one in the middle is my main color, get my laser pointer. If this is the main color right here, whoops, turn that around. Then this is a lighter version of it, and this is a darker version of it. I use this as my base color, and then use these for accents in my website. Analogous colors are colors that are close to each other on the color wheel. So here I've got 3 kind of cool colors. I've got a green. I think this is the main color, and these are the 2 that are either to the right or the left of it on the wheel. You guys are familiar with the color wheel, right? From like, I think, grade school or whatever. Complementary,
because it seems like the color wheels like in the web page design is like describing like the tone.
Yeah,
like the tone of what you're clicking on. Like,
yeah. So like what complementary colors, like two colors that are across the wheel from each other, that creates tension.
Right.
Because they go well together, but there's a tension to them. You know, high contrast and actually really good for ADA compliance. Useful for colorblind people to use high contrast colors. So two colors that look completely different. It's very good for that. But it also, like from a mood standpoint, it creates tension. And in fact, I chose orange and teal for this because a lot of movies use orange and teal as their color palettes. In fact, I read an article where this guy was criticizing. He's like, every movie's orange and teal these days.
Oh.
So these are complementary colors. They're directly across from each other, like red and green, blue and orange, yellow and purple. I think are complementary. A split complementary is you pick one primary color, and then you go across to find the complementary or the complement, and then take two colors that are near it. So that's called a split complementary. You still have that strong contrast, but the less of that tension that you get with like two colors that are totally opposite each other. So this is called a split complementary. And I'll show you how to set these things up. I have a couple of links in the page that this is based on and in this PowerPoint that, and we'll visit one because it's fun. A triad is three colors that are evenly kind of spaced around the wheel. This gives you a good balance between a good, relatively good contrast, but and a little bit of drama, but not the just extreme tension of having two colors that are completely opposite each other. And then a tetrad, you can take four colors from around the wheel. They can either be like evenly spaced, like a square, or you can have them a little bit closer, so you have basically two pairs of analogous colors. So here's a couple of links. I like Peloton, but the Adobe Color Picker is pretty cool. So like this one, I can pick a color, and this is like a monochrome, so it gives me like whatever color I pick, and then it gives me lighter and darker versions of it. If I take some analogous colors, so three colors that are near each other, then I can get a palette like this. So like a red, an orange, and a purple, because red, orange, purple. And I can even adjust these if I want, have them a little closer together, a little farther. If I pull them too far apart, it becomes a triad. So yellow, red, blue. I can make them a little bit more muted, a little more monochromatic, or very saturated. A tetrad where we have four. So I can have two pairs that are close to each other, or I can have them evenly spaced around each other to build a color palette. Be a little less saturated. Or you can just freely pick four colors, which is maybe a little less advised because it, mathematically it's a little different. Because these are defined mathematically. We don't, this isn't like, it's not just picking four random colors. There's literally like math and science to how like we perceive color. And maybe I'll go into that a little bit more when we talk about photo editing towards the end of the semester, because it is pretty fun to talk about. So I'll probably revisit this. But for now, try out these links. They're in the page. These three color palette generator websites. And then how you would actually use these, I'll give a demo maybe on Friday of how you would get these colors out. It's actually not too bad. You just click on one of these. It gives you the color code, which I can talk about a little bit, and then you can just copy that into Google Sites when you pick your colors. Excuse me. But this presentation is getting a little long, so we do need to move. So we'll look at how that's used in Google Sites either, what time is it? Oh, we're out of time. So we'll do that on Friday. And we'll talk about ADA compliance and navigation. Discard that. So we'll get back to this on Friday. We'll talk about how you can incorporate a new color palette into your website using Google Sites tools specifically. And then we'll talk about a little bit more about the project. Using kind of what you already know, look over the new project page, see what it says, choosing a topic. Topics, I think we all have a pretty good idea what would be good, to do as a topic. We've done this a million times. This is like everybody's at least your second year in college. So I think we've got a good idea of what that is. And if anybody wants any critique, that's what the discussion board is for. If you want some feedback on your topic, talk about it amongst each other, bat some ideas back and forth. And then we'll pick it up again on Monday or on Friday. Stop recording.